Welcome back, family, to another episode of the Back Issue Book Club. I'm Greg. That's Rich. Hey, Rich.
Hi, Greg. What's wrong with your eyes, man?
I don't know. Why I'm closing. I'm concentrating. For those on the podcast audio only, Greg was holding his eyes closed.
And if you're driving, I hope listening to this, I hope you're not doing it too.
Oh, yeah, please don't. Don't condone sleeping and driving. Thank you very much. Wear your mask if you've got sleep apnea.
Yes.
We read Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Yes.
This week by Daniel Warren Johnson.
The four-issue series.
Yes. That features the trials and tribulations of Wonder Woman post-apocalypse.
Yes.
And this was suggested and chosen from our Patreon, where you, too, can join us and become a official coconut. And
for those of you that are listening to audio only, he just pointed at you.
Yes. Visit us at patreon.com/teamohana, where you can join us for just $3 a month, and you'll get access to bloopers, except for the last video, where apparently I put bloopers in public for everybody, and polls, and our meetups, which we're going to have April 22nd in the evening, and a whole host of other stuff. Watch-alongs. That's where we do our reaction videos now. What's that?
Bonus content in general, yes.
Bonus content. So check us out there. That being said, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, 4 issues. I pulled a Rich, and I just finished about 20 minutes ago.
I actually read it Sunday morning, so.
Oh, how the turntables.
I was planning on reading it when I went over to the Easter dinner, and I wound up reading it before I even had my morning coffee. So before I went over.
Oh. Was this one that you just kind of blasted through? Easy read to read it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. So,
who's review first? You review first. Okay.
Okay. My biggest complaint with this book is the way Wonder Woman is drawn.
Bingo.
She kind of looks like a
13-year-old girl.
I was going to say Neanderthal. She's got like a big brow in a lot of pictures, and
you almost expect to see bones in her hair.
Yeah, I mean it's like whatever. I don't know. The other people didn't look that bad.
Wonder Woman meets the Croods.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. And I don't need her to be some like bimbo. You know, we've talked about this before. Like I like a buff, muscular Wonder Woman because she's Wonder Woman, kind of She-Hulk.
Yes, she's an Amazon.
Right. But this was weird drawing of her. That being out of the way, I really enjoyed this. I didn't know this story existed. It was an interesting take on Themyscira and Hippolyta. I think her mother's name is
Hippolyta, I think is the pronunciation.
Okay, Hippolyta. I did not expect.
You might be right. I might be wrong. Correct us in the comments.
Yeah. But it was a good story. I enjoyed it. What did you think?
I love the story. I truly dislike the artwork in general, not just Wonder Woman's drawing.
Ah, okay.
There were a lot of scenes where it looked like they were trying to cram too much into scenes, and you're trying to figure, well, what am I looking at? What is that? So, but I did like the fact that they allowed the pictures to tell the story most of the time. I mean, sometimes I felt like I would go 2 pages without a single word of text.
Yeah, I think in the 3rd or 4th book there was a whole page, I think, without text.
Yeah,
if done right, it can be really powerful. Because like I'll be like, like I don't know, I get sucked into those pages especially, and yeah, it did very good. I noticed that Daniel Warren Johnson likes to do arenas a lot. That kind of goes into what you were saying about like so much packed in.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that did the Doer Power Bomb, and he was having all these like, you know, arenas and crowds. And I mean, I got to give him the credit. Like some of the artwork is incredible. Like the fight, the double wide fight scenes and stuff like that. But it is busy for sure.
I thought the fight scene between Wonder Woman and Superman was off the hook.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, just like, but I'm like reading this. I'm like, didn't Superman get rid of kryptonite? Unless he saved some just in case.
Yeah, that was at the Fortress of Solitude, wasn't it?
Yes, but that really classic cover by Neil Adams, "No More Kryptonite." I thought that's where he got rid of it all.
Who knows? I mean, he had a robot. I didn't know he had a robot.
Yeah, that could do some serious damage in a fight.
Yeah. Well, so I did take notes this time for once and the first time in a while. At the very beginning, I definitely thought they were doing a gender swap of Steve Trevor. Like when the plane was coming down and Dee was getting out, I thought Dee was like just a female version of.
Dude, you're good. It took me till like the third book before I figured out that Dee was a female.
Ah. But I was surprised to see them like wake up in the Batcave.
Yeah,
because they went through, they crashed through the cave and they kept getting hit down by the Hydra. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the Batcave.
It's kind of interesting though that all those years, I mean, what, a century or so at least it seems.
Yeah.
Nobody's bothered to really go and ransack Bruce Wayne's house and find the Batcave.
They've been dead. People are dead.
No, there was enough people to fill an arena.
Only in the city that was ruled by this dick called Theremin or something. I forget.
Yeah. A lot of forgettable names.
Yeah, weird names. But then there was that one part where they drugged her and they presented her to the Captain Thera or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she woke up and hit him, so he was like, "Oh, I have to make an example of you," and put her in a prison cell. And then Dee comes down, and they start Wonder Woman and her start chatting.
Yeah, saying I'm sorry. Yeah.
I didn't understand really when she was like, I love you. Do you remember that?
Yes. It wasn't like.
Did she mean humans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she has a love for all mankind, and they're worth fighting for. And she kind of looks at each person because she is in herself a god.
Well, and there was a really good point she made. Well, we'll get to that. So she gets sentenced to go to the Coliseum or arena, whatever you call it, for endless pit or something like that. And Cheetah shows up.
The pit of woe. Whoa! It's not the pit of woe, but I wanted to call it the pit of woe.
That works.
Cool.
Her opponent is a very altered Cheetah, who is like one of Wonder Woman's main enemies in her stories. And they're like almost had like a Hulk Thor Ragnarok moment where they're like, aha,
Yeah.
I recognize you,
Barbara.
Barbara,
the friend from work.
But then at first they're like, oh, hey, what happened? And then they're like, I have to fight you, I'm sorry, and they really go at it. All the while, the stadium from the outside is getting overrun by Hydra.
Yes.
As they start to come into the crowd. And then Wonder Woman is like, fuck this, and wrecks shit. And the guards of the arena are like, it was thanks to this woman. And they basically just are like, okay, you can rule us now.
Yep, put the other guy in the prison.
Right. So they do that. And then this goes to your point earlier that I said. She's talking with Dee, and Dee's like, how can you want to go get advice from Thera? And she's like, well, I am so old that... How old are you? So old that I don't really view time in years anymore. I view time in lifetimes. And to me, I hope that he didn't come into this world the way he is, and I hope he's not going to go out of the world the way he is, basically.
Right. Still has a lot of time to redeem himself and become a good human being, which kind of reminded me a little bit of the Moon Knight series when he was judging people on what they may or may not do in the future.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, Dead Earth came out first, so if anything, Moon Knight stole it. So,
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, man, you're such a good person.
Listen to me defending DC. I'm maturing as a person here.
You are. I'm very proud of you. But yeah, and then the first book ends with her saying, "We're going to Themyscira." And people are like, all right. And then the former leader's like, do you realize how fucking hard that's going to be?
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And then she starts to walk away, and he's like, wait, I want to help.
In the grain silo, you'll find such and such and such and such.
Yeah, you'll get a Jeep and some gas and some other stuff.
Yeah,
Boom.
and the one kid's like, I made us a boat. Did anybody see
Tal.
them? Huh?
Tal
Yeah.
was his name, yeah.
Anybody see anybody carrying this boat? Or I didn't see the boat again until the water.
I didn't look at it hard enough because I think I was dealing with some parenting stuff, but I thought it was like a model almost. It wasn't big unless I didn't understand the perspective of the drawing.
It was the Willy Wonka one where it's like, or no, the what do you call it? Not Willy Wonka. The Alice in Wonderland. Eat me, drink me. They put a little drop of water on it, expands.
No, I guess that is a full-size boat. I'm looking at it now. But it's tiny, man.
Well, that's why there was only 3 of them that went across.
Valid. In my head, I was like, oh, this is going to be like a Noah's Ark situation, and they're going to have the entire city on there.
What I could understand is that Diana said, okay, the 3 of us will go across, and as soon as they got across, you wait here. Well, they could have waited with the other people. If you're going to leave them at the dock, why even bring them across the water?
To row. She had to, what do you call it? What's the thing Batman does? Like, not brew.
Brood?
Brood. Is that the word?
Yeah.
You're brooding over there. Yeah. Brew. Anyway, stupid. A much more cool thing on that page was he or she was like, hey, I inventoried Batman's belt for you. Or inventoried the belt for you.
Yeah.
And she's got the Batman's belt all listed open and everything. And he's like, what are these things? And Diana's like, I don't know what all of these do, actually. But
Thank God that she was able to figure out the lighter.
yes, indeed. Actually, one of the next couple pages are very low on text. It's like a montage of them traveling.
Moving right along in such a good time, so good news. Moving right along.
And then we get a giant double spread of a huge Hydra that's just like the size of that crocodile that attacked the Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah, the crocoturtle.
Yeah. And that's what you were talking about with the lighters. They're getting fucked up real hard, and she gets the Jeep, and it's full of gas cans, and she just takes the ramp. It goes right into its mouth. Boom. Well, actually, she hits it. She gets a gas can, pours the gas all up in its mouth.
Yeah, I thought she was going to pull a Drax.
Just go,
Yeah, right. Like drive straight down his throat from the with the Jeep and start punching it from the inside.
Yeah, but this was pretty badass too.
Oh yeah. No.
She's like in the air. She's like grabbing the Zippo out of her bat belt and then lights it and throw that shit down the throat and boom, fucker explodes.
Should we call it the Wonder Belt since she's wearing it now?
Sure.
You want to know what I found interesting?
What's
is that the bat belt was worn by Batman. Now it's worn by Wonder Woman. So apparently they have the same waist size.
Well, belts are adjustable.
Not when you've got what's crammed with items all the way around it.
Fair enough. And then there was a little foreshadowing about the Hydras being, spoiler, being Amazons. When they had the carcass of this thing, the one who built the boat, Tal, he was like, "Look at this," and he's like, "The organs are like normal, and these bone structures are normal. They're just giant."
Yeah,
So
like
they were
humanoid type of organ structure.
Yeah. So that made you, as a reader, go like, "Huh, I wonder." Then they go to the smallest island you've ever seen with a lighthouse on it, and like smaller than Luke's Blue Milk Island. And Diana's like, "I'll be back," with her little boat and her buddies, as you were alluding to earlier. And they get to Themyscira based on her feelings. She's like, "I can feel it this way, feel it this way, feel it this way." And I get there. And then it's like this like totally blown away shell of itself.
Yep.
Here's where she says, "I'll be back soon. You can't go with me. Don't come for me. I'll be back."
Well, I guess she did that when she first decided to go across the water. She was assuming that Themyscira was going to be this still lush green paradise. And when she got there, it was the desolate wasteland.
That's true.
So wait here while I find out what the heck is going on.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And she runs into Nubia.
Or what's left of her.
Well, yeah.
Well, Nubia at this point reminded me of what?
Man-Thing.
I was thinking Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great. That's a good comp actually.
After the augmentation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's funny. She doesn't even say anything. She just points that direction towards the catacombs. So she goes and she goes and she goes, and all the while Dee is like, "I'm gonna go after her and save her." And then she encounters her mom, and we're like, "Oh, her mother's there," but we don't see her feet. They're shrouded in darkness.
Yes.
And then the next page, you just see like this bulbous, teeth-riddled, fucking giant centipede from the knees down.
Yeah, kind of like the queen from Geonosia.
Yeah. And she's like, "What happened to you?" And then she goes on to explain that the humans nuked the shit out of the island because they went to war with the Amazons. And she like touches her head and she unlocks all the memories that she didn't have about when she took her cuffs off,
which limit her power.
Which was a really cool. I had no idea. I don't know if this is like canon.
I've never heard that either. I thought they were just good piece of armor to deflect.
Me too. But then all the while she's like locked on, Dee comes out of the side and like slices her hands off.
Yeah.
She assumed she was attacking her, and she was a Hydra. And then Nubia comes in, and she's like, "Rah, rah, rah," and there's just a big commotion, and I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I am now going to hear anytime I see Nubia now.
Nubia comes up behind Tal, puts the fucking 10-foot, puts Valifax, throwbacks to the next episode, puts Valifax through the kid Tal, so Tal's dead. And we have a double spreaded page of Cheetah showing up on a Pegasus to save.
And where did she get Pegasus?
I don't think they ever went into it. They talked about it a little bit, how Pegasus was cool, and he's like scarred a little bit, but he's still helpful. I'm not sure how Cheetah got him.
He's got a little of the Two-Face look going with some of the teeth hanging out the side, but
yeah. So Cheetah helps them escape. Well, helps only Wonder Woman escape. No, wait.
No, I thought they took Wonder Woman, Dee, and Tal's body
to the island.
Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman and Cheetah were like, Wonder Woman was like, "Fuck this.
Yeah.
fuck humanity. I'm out of here.
Yeah, because she remembered that humans. Her mom sent Wonder Woman Diana to go and negotiate with humankind because the waters were rising and you've got to do stuff. And it was almost, I guess, either you take care of this or we're going to mentality. At which point the governments of the world said, "Well, it sounds like they're giving us an ultimatum. We better get together and attack them." So they launched every nuclear bomb at the island that they didn't know where it was. That I had a problem with that one.
Yeah, I don't know how they knew that.
But anyway, that's when Wonder Woman took off her bracelets to try to go and intercept all of the
Incoming
nuclear
missiles.
weapons, but could not stop them all.
And the
when
defenses of the island ricocheted them everywhere else as well. So I think that's how the rest of the world got fucked up too.
Yep. But when she saw what had happened and the world, what happened to her place and what happened to the world, she just lost. That's when she lost it because she didn't have the cuffs anymore to rein her in.
Right. So she remembered all that from her mother. And that's why at this point she was like, I'm done with you guys. And Dee is like, you just moved us out of the city onto a little island with the water that's rising, and now you're leaving us. What are we going to do? And I was like, well, that's true. That sucks.
Well, you were in a city that was being overrun. It's not like staying there was really going to help you.
Well, that comes up later. I think Edard or what is
Dee says it.
Does she? Okay. They're at one point they're like, maybe Wonder Woman was the push we needed, even though she left us.
No, you're right. Ed
There was
Dog
nothing
said
there
it.
for us.
Ed Dog said it because he got into an argument with Dee. We could have stayed in the city, and he said that this was never meant to be a permanent place. We were supposed to move on.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
You all right, sir? Your notes are paying off.
Thank you. And then we get into book 3, where Diana and Cheetah are kind of like reminiscing, and Cheetah's filling her in some gaps with knowledge of what happened and how she was experimented on, and that's why she's got like a cheetah arm now. And
well, when the way she was saying, "You don't understand what they did to me. You don't understand what they did," and they showed some of the things that they were augmenting her, and then they pan away from it, and she says again, "You don't know what they did to me." It made me think, did they do something far worse to her that they didn't want to put in the comic book?
well, at one point as it's panning away in one of those panels, it says, or Cheetah says, "That's all I wish to say on the matter," or something something to that effect.
I have spoken. Yes.
Essentially, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's up to our imagination, but then we come back to the island where the humans are, and everyone's starting to like. All the like townspeople are like, "What do? We don't have any food. Is she coming back? Is she coming back?" And I guess they left. What's his name? Edog?
Yeah.
He was essentially left in charge, so he goes and he's trying to figure stuff out, and I gotta know this guy's name. Whatever, the old leader. He's talking with Dee about Wonder Woman leaving, and he's like, "Can you blame her? I mean, we're pretty shitty humans." So
Yeah.
he mentioned that the Wonder Woman belt has a tracker on it. So if you really want to find her, follow the tracker. And then she ends up getting the lasso of truth, and got the former captain leader on the lasso of truth, so she could figure out exactly what his intentions are.
Let's just call him Mr. T.
Mr. T. And he comes clean. He's like, "I want to help.
I want to be better."
At first, I hated her, but I realize now that how much we need her. So, and this person D never forgets to remind him that this doesn't fix everything that he did to her, and he takes it in stride. What do you say?
Yeah, and another thing that was left to imagination or worry about what he did to her, in that, he's looking for, oh yeah, she can make an excellent wife. Well, how many others did he have, or whatever? Who knows?
Yeah, you made my life hell, she said. So,
and I don't think that was solely about rations.
No, I'm sure not. But yeah, they see that she's gone way, way north. So Edog and Dee's little sister are seeing Dee off on her motorcycle, and she goes to find Diana.
Yes, good motorcycle has a range of about 200 miles. Cool.
Yeah. But then it comes to the Pegasus with Cheetah and Diana, and they're talking about, what about Superman? Where the fuck was he during all this?
Yep.
And as they're approaching the Fortress of Solitude, she's like, yeah, thousands of people came and were like knocking on his door and were like, please save us. And he never came out. And the next page he says, but he never came. And it's like a sea of skeletons in front of the Fortress of Solitude.
Ripped banners, please save us.
Yeah. That's an awesome piece of art there. And creepy. Like, oh, what happened? And, they try to go in, and she's like, oh, I can get in. He's got the 1,000-ton key or whatever that he just leaves out in the open. And she like tries to pull it up, and she's like, I used to be able to move this, but I can't. And then door creeps open, and we get a freaky skeleton, Terminator 1-esque Superman-ish.
Yes. Hello, Wonder Woman. I've been waiting for you.
Hello, Diana. You don't remember? And then she's like, come on in. I've been waiting for you. And Cheetah and her go in, and you get this double page of Superman on this throne. What's left of Superman?
Yeah.
With a giant hole in his emblem chest.
Yep.
And she's like, no. The war was coming to an end. The earth was falling to the Amazons. So basically, Superman was, I don't want to say taking the side of the humans, but he was doing that thing where, everybody stopped fighting each other, and it shows the, government's launching the nukes, and a second later, he's like, no, and he crashes in there, and he's like, what the fuck did you do that for, essentially? He wouldn't say that, but, and then, Hippolyta takes the gauntlets off of Diana, and she's like, do your thing. And
sick 'em.
Yeah, and then Diana tries to disarm each of these nukes, but one made it through, and that's a page with like no words, just like a nuclear bomb in her face.
Yeah. And
then Clark floats up to her and was like, hey, I'm so sorry. And she's just like, she's incensed. She's got like the Raiden from Mortal Kombat eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, there was one going to Smallville too. Like, it's not just you. And she's like, fuck you. And he's like, Diana? And then this is where we had this awesome fight scene.
Let's get ready to rumble.
And Superman was like, dude, please, I don't want to do this, please. And she's like, fuck you. And she just keeps going at him.
Oh, at one point, he's like, all right, fine. That's where you want it? Okay, it's on.
Yeah, he's on the ground looking back at her, and he's like, all right, then. And he goes, boom, right back at her, and just, she's bitch slapping him. It's crazy.
Yeah, open-handed. I saw that.
That's what I was saying, yeah. And then it starts to show, some of the consequences of this fight. She's like nailing him, and he's like flying into a city and causing explosions, and people are burning up, like showing skeletons and humans dying here from the explosion of him getting hit into the city.
And that's when she's like remembering the phrase, the story of what happened, and she said, "And this was what the fire."
Yep, I was the big fire. It wasn't the
nuclear weapons; it was their fight.
Yeah, something that burned the whole world, made it like you see now. And then finally, she punches his ass through the Fortress of Solitude. Not through the door or anything, and he's on the ground, and she's like, she gets this kryptonite that's still in there, don't know why, like we talked about, and he's like, Diana, please listen, and then she just does one of those anime, like stabs the shit out of him, and then punches a hole through his stomach, and that's where we find him, 500 years later today.
Yep, just a decayed skeleton.
And she throws up, like it snaps back to reality now, or back to current times, and she's like, "Oh fuck!" and she just throws up.
Yeah, that's right. Everything that you see out there, you did it.
Right. And then I guess she comes to from passing out, and Cheetah and Super Robot are bringing her. Vitals back, I guess. Let's see. I was activated by an old friend of yours.
Batman.
We gave. Yeah. So it shows a picture of Bruce, a very old Bruce, turning on the Robo Superman.
Yep.
And then they get a perimeter breach, but it's Sweet D. So D is like approaches Wonder Woman, and she's like, "What is this place?" And she's like, "The home of an old friend."
Yeah.
Did he abandon you? No. They start to. She asked, "Will they be able to hear us?" She asked Cheetah and the robot to leave, and Wonder Woman was like, "No," and Dee's like, "Good," and she takes out the lasso of truth and gets Wonder Woman stuck in it, which was awesome. I thought that was super cool.
So this is what it feels like.
Yeah. So basically, she gets her way with her, like, in terms of getting real answers. You know how that shit works. And she asks her who she really is, and she goes through her history, how she's a goddess, and, back and forth about why she left, and she was scared, she didn't understand, and all that talk of love and second chances and stuff was all lies. No, it wasn't. I didn't know. I do believe more goodwill will come from laying down the sword. And I do love you, D. Again, I guess humans.
Yep.
I am the great fire. I was the one who destroyed your home. All along, it was me. And she's crying as she says that. And I didn't even know I was capable of losing control so completely. I believe in love. I believe in a thing called love.
I was thinking, I believe I can fly.
I believe in self-sacrifice, but I am not much more human. But I am much more human than I ever realized. So I'm not going to read every panel, but
that's fine.
That's how it goes. And basically, they're like, how can we trust each other? And they're both like, I don't know. There was no result to that. But as they're leaving, Superman's like, excuse me, D, you should look at this.
I have something for you.
Yeah. You should look at this.
It's a letter from 1872 from Doc Brown.
Oh, what are we going to do? Oh. So they go downstairs and they open up a room, and it's full of weapons and shit from the galaxy that Superman has collected over the years.
Yeah.
And there's like guns on the wall and stuff, and they're like, wow, this is cool. You know, classic, like walking in, I got plenty of stuff in this arsenal.
Yeah, Cheetah's
and,
having a grand old time in there.
Yeah. But then this part I was not ready for. I was a little like, oh, wow. That was like my reaction to it.
I know what you're talking about. Yep. Jeez.
So she brings, I guess they brought Clark into this room or to some other room. They laid him on a table and she's like, it's not enough. What's it? Whatever's in this room. And she goes, I'm sorry, Clark, for everything. I wish I could take back what happened. And the next scene, in the next panel, she's ripping his skull and spine up through the front of his body. What's
like
left of his
Predator
body.
style.
Yeah, like juice
Yeah.
and shit everywhere. And she's like, I promise I'll try to use you to make things right. And I was like,
What the fuck?
what? And she hoses her lasso of truth through his
Yes,
spine.
like popcorn on a string at Christmas time.
Like it's some kind of conduit. And D goes, if he was as strong as you said it makes you kind of wish he was still around.
To which she should have said, well, you know what? He was almost as strong as me.
Just his bones and his beautiful memory, and she's standing there like this with his fucking spine and skull, and she goes, let's go.
Yeah, with her lasso of truth running through it.
Really odd.
Turning it into like a medieval flail with Superman bones.
Yeah, like a morning star or whatever you call it. I mean, I guess, because the bones are probably real strong, but that was weird for me.
Yeah.
But hey. Then book 4 starts, and it kind of shows Batman's last days, how he was so pissed at her and didn't want to do what he did by putting her in like cryogenesis.
It's like, I want to end you right here.
I wish I could, but I have to do the opposite because I know you're the only one who could fix it. So we find out how she ended up where she ended up in the very beginning now. And and the next page is one of one word. It shows Batman kind of wandering around, grabbing a drink, sitting down of the wall missing, and takes a drink and goes.
I'd love to know what that thought was in his head.
I know, I know. But I guess that's what makes it fun.
Now the end is near.
Right. So.
I mean, it really would have been cool if like the Joker was sitting next to him. Pass the bottle, Batsy.
Oh, bats.
That's pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
If it's a thing you could do.
If I worked on it, I think I could get pretty close. But anyway. They get back to the island with Ed-Og and Mr. T.
I like
it. He turns out Mr. T snuck a bunch of weapons and stuff, just like Superman did, I guess. Mm-hmm. And they're doing their own version of the let's do this.
Yeah, because they know that the giant wave of the Hydras are coming.
Yep. And all the while, we're back at the Forest of Solitude, and Wonder Woman and crew are like, all right, well, I think it's time we go redeem ourselves. And they're flying back, and all the while, and now the humanity is on their last stand here, Hydra-sided, and you get a double huge page of this fucking like it's Hippolyta, and she's giant, and she's leading this like kaiju-esque creature onto the small island that they're on, and as a pterodactyl thing is approaching Ed-Og, you see this badass picture of the Pegasus, like real up close, like, and she's got her Superman mace, and she's taking care of business. And we get our redemption perhaps for Mr. T. Cheetah, is it Cheetah? Let's see.
Yes.
Yeah, Cheetah's on the ground, and Nubia's about to kill her, and he comes up with like a machine gun. He's like, "Fuck you, get back!" And she's like, sticks Valifax right through her. And then Superman shows up, Superman robot, and takes care of her, knocks her out. And Thaden, that's his name. D comes up and is like, we're good. This doesn't change anything, you know. Oh, that was Cheetah that said that. Interesting.
Oh, I thought it was D.
No, I'm looking at it now. It's Cheetah that said that.
Okay.
He must have been the one experimenting on her.
Well, he was in charge.
Yeah. And he goes, I know. So then Superman takes out Nubia. Well, begins to, and then Hippolyta shows up behind him and is just like chomp, eats him.
A robot.
Game over.
It tasted really good.
Yeah, seriously. And then, the final showdown. Wonder Woman starts attacking Nubia, ends her, and then the mother, she's like, "You got to stop, Mom. This is horrible." And the mom is like, "Listen, you can either get out of our way or kill me."
Are you going to take the side of the people that killed all your sisters and kill your sisters with them?
Yep. And then we get a cool little flashback to what was in the little green box from Robot Superman. A long time ago, an old friend placed Diana in a special chamber. It was designed specifically to heal her and bring her back to full strength. But the strength is dormant. It must be activated with this. So
It's the last Red Bull left in humanity.
Yes, sugar-free, mind you. So this would bring her back to the way she was, Dee asks. And he goes, completely. And I really like this part, so I'm going to read it. Dee goes, why not just give it to her, yourself? Why give it to me to give to her? And he was like, it was mandated to me that the choice to restore Wonder Woman must lie with the wronged party.
Yep.
Super cool.
Yes.
Love that.
I did too.
So cool. Humanity, you must decide if she is deserving of a second chance. And
the funny thing is that based on the scenario, they really didn't decide that she was worth a second chance. They just they decided that her at full strength was their only chance.
yeah, I suppose they're not mutually exclusive. But yeah, that's true. So they're getting fucked up. Dee's getting stabbed. And she opens the box and there's like this little yellow syringe, I guess. Yeah. And she shoves it in Wonder Woman's, sternum. And she gets her power back.
Yep. But her forehead does stay the same size, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we have I skipped ahead with the dialogue with the mother. Now that's when that happens. But yeah. She wrecks all the Hydras, and she's like, sorry, sisters, I'm so sorry. And she's just destroying them. One after another. And she doesn't like, I guess her mother got mortally wounded by all the other stuff because she said she would never kill her mother. Not mortally, because she slinks off into the ocean.
Yeah, she does the Godzilla bye-bye.
Yeah. Flash forward to, I guess, a week later, and everyone's like waking up on Themyscira. And Dee and Wonder Woman have another chat about like trusting each other again, and they're like, listen, I mean, I don't know how we could trust each other, but I can promise you that I'm going to try to do my best, and that's what I can do. I only have one of the gauntlets, and I put it on. I want to find the other one so I can put that on too.
And Dee says, well, is one gauntlet enough to stop you? And she says no. So, okay, so if you don't have the other gauntlet, then you could go nuts anytime again.
Right.
And I think her mother is counting on that, and that's why her mother probably destroyed or thoroughly hit the other gauntlet, so she could never be locked up again like that.
Ooh, interesting. I didn't think of that. But yeah, so
I'll unleash my daughter on you.
but then the final panel is Wonder Woman saying, "D, will you join me? Will you help me revive this dead Earth?" And it's like a panel, horrible drawn Wonder Woman reaching down towards you in the camera.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, listen, I thought it was great, except for the drawing of that one, but super cool.
And after they start getting the planet going again, the axiom comes back down. Wally comes off and says, "Wally."
Oh, that would be interesting.
No, but again, the story I thought was really good, but the artwork just wasn't my cup of tea. And I mean, I can critique all I want. I can't draw that well if I tried, so it's still a billion times better than anything I could ever put the pen to paper. So I feel guilty saying that, but in comparison to other artwork, it was not my preference. How about that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's not my favorite, and I really dislike how he did Wonder Woman, but it is what it is. How many Lasso of Truths out of 10 would you give this?
I give it I'll have to say, I'm thinking 6.5, but that sounds low, so I'll give it a 7.
That's what I was going to give it. That's funny. I give it a 7.
Yeah, because I didn't want to say 6.5 because that sounds like a really crappy grade that you get from CGC, you know. So I mean, it felt more satisfying than a 6.5, so I'll give it the 7. It was definitely I'm glad I read it. And I'd like to see more stories like this. But, I mean, it's really, really hard to try to nail artwork, storyline, presentation, text the way we like it, and everything. You know, if every comic book was fantastic, then what would separate the fantastic books?
Yeah. I do think this one had a good layout of, like, where to read the next words and stuff like that. I think I got confused maybe one time. But that was never a huge issue like it has been for some books with us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll give it a 7. Yeah, I'll give it a 7. It was a good story. It got weird sometimes.
So do we have a pick for next week yet?
Yeah, you picked it.
Is this the one I picked?
Yeah.
All right.
What did you pick?
All right. So in honor of Star Wars Celebration and the Ahsoka Tano trailer, and knowing that Lars Mikkelsen is playing Thrawn, and them actually mentioning the words "heir to the Empire" in the trailer itself, we're going to read the 6-part comic book series of Zahn's adaptation. It's an adaptation of Zahn's story, Heir to the Empire.
Ooh.
Yes. I mean, we have time to do this because the show's not coming out till August, but let's do it. And that is from...
Okay.
Actually, I'm just going to grab the book here because I have that. This is from 1995.
Oh, wow. It's pretty old.
First appearance of Thrawn and Mara Jade, which we don't think we're getting Mara Jade. Well, what do you call it? George Lucas never liked the character of Mara Jade. And
that's Luke's wife?
Yes. But Filoni and Favreau seem to respect the wishes of George Lucas. So, and this is mine. This is not for sale anymore. Yay! It's my 9.8. Yay! My favorite book.
But there we go. We're gonna do that 6-part. You said series?
Yes.
Cool. So we'll do that next week. Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Be sure to check out our new Comic Book Day videos every Wednesday evening. Mm-hmm. Free comic books. Rich is a dope dude. He's giving away 1 or 2 books a day every time and pays for shipping. So you just have to go there, leave a like, leave a comment, be subscribed.
And
So
honestly,
simple.
be a resident of North America.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's true.
I
Sorry.
have to save a little bit on shipping. So
Check us out on Instagram at Team Ohana Family. Trying to always post stuff up there. And then check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Team Ohana for all other bonus features.
for all your Team Ohana needs.
I almost said that. Also, don't forget to check out our Etsy shop. We got merch like shirts and hats.
Yes.
There you go.
See actual real snapbacks.
Yeah.
Mahalo in the back. So yes.
Hey. Yes. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you, family. Until we see you in the next one. Mahalo.